so tired. 8 devices, 5 tiers, and one opinion that's probably gonna get flamed by every Android user that watches this. This is the 2021 iPhone tier list. Is this video gonna be like my other videos with all the nice B-roll and all that stuff? No. But is this video an excuse for me not to study for my pre-calc test next week?
What do you think?
By the way, if you're new here, I'm Avery and I create tech-related content on this channel. If at the end of this video you enjoyed what you watched, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me out. It shows your appreciation for these videos, and it also makes my relatives pretty happy. First, let's get some logistics out of the way first. This is all my opinion. For each phone, I'm just gonna give a brief overview of the phone and then talk about what I think of the phone as a whole package. Alright, so the first iPhone on the list is the iPhone XR. Man, can you believe that they're still selling this thing even though they released it in 2018? And they're still selling it for what? $700 Canadian? So this iPhone received a lot of controversy when it first came out, mainly due to its sub 1080p LCD display. This worried a lot of people, including myself, that the display just wouldn't look that crisp. But guess what? Other than the tech YouTubers and the Android Pixel peepers, no one really cared. And in the end, it ended up becoming one of the most popular iPhones to date, right behind iPhone 6 and I think probably around the same as iPhone 11. But I still wouldn't really call this a budget phone, especially in Canada where MSRP was like, I think $1,000. The cameras were great, battery life was amazing, and the colors were really sweet as well. Overall, the iPhone XR was an amazing phone for like 90% of all iPhone upgraders in 2018, which earns itself the very honorable ranking of A tier. A for Apple, great job with this phone. Next is the iPhone SE, which kind of went under the radar last year when it first debuted in April. But it was actually an amazing phone for its price. Let's start with that. The iPhone SE starts at $400 US and $600 Canadian, and was and still is the cheapest iPhone that you can buy brand new. And it packed a lot inside. While specs on paper didn't really seem that impressive, it had a lot more going for it compared to other budget smartphones at the time. In the end, for those who just wanted an iPhone with no frills and no nonsense, the iPhone SE was just for them, in which I give the iPhone SE the very respectable ranking of B tier. B for probably the best budget phone on the market in my opinion. Next is the iPhone 11. There was a reason why the iPhone 11 was the best selling iPhone in the first half of 2020. That's because it was so freaking good. Yes, the display was still sub 1080p and the design barely changed from the XR, but everything else made it the iPhone that was pretty much the buy this one smartphone at the time. For me, the standout feature on the iPhone 11 was the new ultra-wide camera. Ultra-wides are just way more useful than telephoto cameras. Google.
So while wide angle can be fun, we think telephoto is more important.
They just allow for way more creative and unique photos. And we also can't forget slow fees, which was definitely the feature that everyone wanted the most. The combination of the still amazing battery life, the superb cameras, and just the right features made this iPhone the default iPhone at the time, which earns the iPhone 11 the outstanding ranking of S tier. S for slow fees is the best feature, bar none. Next is the iPhone 12. Like its predecessor, the iPhone 12 was immediately the default iPhone for most people this year, but it improved on the places that were needed the most. First, the screen was finally OLED. Thank you, Apple. The iPhone 12 also came with a somewhat new design, which drew inspiration from the iPhone 5's squared edges. 5G, which no one except the carriers really cared about, debuted on the iPhone 12s. Apple also quote-unquote brought back MagSafe, but for the iPhone, which is a network of accessories that utilizes the magnets on the back of the phone. In typical Apple fashion, the price of the iPhone 12 increased from the iPhone 11 quite substantially, and this was also the first iPhone without a charging brick in the box. But as an overall package, the iPhone 12 is a great phone for the average consumer, which deserves it the pretty respectable rank of A tier. A for kiss your AC adapters goodbye. Next up is the iPhone 12 mini. Pretty much identical in every way to its older sibling, the iPhone 12, but just with a smaller screen and a smaller battery. But in order to talk about this phone, I kind of have to mention why this phone was created in the first place and why it's probably not going to be made again. There is a small but very sizable group of people who really like small phones. And they also have big voices as well. These were the people who wanted an iPhone SE, but with the newest stuff. And apparently, the iPhone SE that's currently available right now is not good enough for them, which is why the iPhone 12 mini exists. But guess what? History has proven that when you cater to one small demographic, you miss out on a lot of other people. And you may actually lose money. This is exactly what happened with the iPhone 12 mini. But don't get me wrong, the iPhone 12 is probably the best compact smartphone that's on the market today. And because of that, the iPhone 12 lands itself the rank of B tier. B for bigger isn't always better. Or is it? Up next is the awkward middle child of the iPhone 12 lineup. I say this because I'm not really sure who the iPhone 12 Pro is really for. There are several key differences between the Pro and the non-Pro. The Pro has a telephoto lens and a LiDAR sensor on the back. The Pro has a different set of finishes and a higher starting price, albeit with 128 gigabytes base. In my opinion, I would not fork up the around $200 to go from an iPhone 12 to a 12 Pro. There's simply not enough to justify the upgrade, which is why I'm giving the iPhone 12 Pro the rank of C tier. C for come on Apple, give us 120 Hz on the iPhone. Next is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. This is pretty much the most iPhone that you can get, and it comes at a pretty hefty cost that my kidneys aren't taking lightly. Unlike the 12 and the 12 mini, which are identical apart from screen size and battery, the Pro Max slightly differs from the Pro in terms of camera. In layman's terms, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the photographer's wet dream. But to be completely honest, at the starting price of pretty much a MacBook, I would have expected a lot more at this price. There's a ton of stuff Apple could have added to make this a much better overall package. This is why I'm gonna give the iPhone 12 Pro Max the rank of B tier. B for Pacific Blue is the best color, no cap. Last and certainly least is the iPod Touch. I know, the iPod Touch is not an iPhone, but I wanted to throw it in as a wild card because I don't know why the hell they're still selling it. F tier, no question. F for fun at 1/10 the speed. And that's about it. Again, this is all my opinion, so feel free to disagree in the comment section down below. I'm probably going to do either the iPad or the Apple Watch lineup next because I want to wait until after WWDC to do the Mac tier list. Also, if you made it this far, my next video is going to be a week in my life vlog. It's also going to be one of the most stressful weeks that I'm ever going to have for school. As always, gently tap the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to be notified whenever I release a new video. That being said, I'm gonna go watch The Bad Batch now in order to distract myself from the hell that I'm going to experience next week. I'm out.